Welcome back. In today's episode, we have the conclusion of the interview with Luke Tyburski. He explains the 40% more rule and how it applies to everything in your life. You do not want to miss today's episode.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performance Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy. What's one of your biggest regrets, if you have any?
It's very personal. It's a very personal thing. It comes up whenever I'm asked this. It's I think it was 2005, no 2007. Sorry, I was living in New Orleans playing soccer there, and my grandmother, who on my mum's side, she basically helped raise my sister and I when my parents worked full time. So we would finish school and my grandmother would pick us up until my mum finished work and she'd come and get us. And we were very, very close. We lived like a 10-minute drive away from each other and we used to spend all the time. And Gren's house was that fun house. You know, she always spoiled us rotten. And, you know, it was harsh on us when we needed to be. But when we were being good, like we were made feel that we were truly loved. And my grandmother had a stroke when I was playing in New Orleans, and my sister rushed home. She's just like, no way, because she was living in England. And I talked to my grandmother. It was a very important time in the season. We were in the playoffs. I was an integral part of the team. And I spoke to my grandmother, and I said, because she was going in to have operations to have like one of the balloon stints put in to relieve some of the pressure from the stroke on her brain. And she said to me, Luke, I want you to stay there. I want you to play. I want you to do well, score me a goal, you know, all that type of stuff that you could imagine someone was saying to someone else. And I said, you sure? And she said, yeah, I'm going to be okay. It's all going to be good. And I spoke to my mum. I spoke to the doctors, spoke to the surgeon, everyone. And they said, yeah, there's a really high chance that she's going to be fine and she'll come out of this. And she never survived the operation. When they opened her up to have a look, the stroke and the blood clot and the pressure was the brain has fallen a lot more than they could see on the scan, and that still to this day, it's 9 years later. As soon as someone says, like, do you have any regrets? And the biggest thing that comes to me was that I didn't rush home on a plane just to hold my grandmother's hand and tell her I loved her to her face one last time. And that's the biggest regret that I've got in my life.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. It's we never know when our last day is or our last moment is.
And that's what I've learned from that as well.
Yeah, and just make the most out of everything. You know, it's funny when I sit down and I'm working with clients and we're working on long-term vision and goals, and they'll come up with a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. I said, that's great. I want you to have a goal to hit. But I said, I really want to be spending most of our time, what's going on in the next 3 months? Because we don't even know if we're going to be here tomorrow, let alone 3 years or 5 years down the road. And let's make the most of right now, because that's what we have.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, you know, I've done those plans as well. And I've just finished doing my 1, 3, 5, 10-year plan. I like to sort of reshuffle that. And if you look at it, my 3-month plan and my next 12-month plan is so more detailed and so much broader than my 3 and 5 and 10, because it whittles out, because it's like, well, I don't need to spend so much time thinking about how I visualize my life and how I want my life to be in 10 years' time. I just need a few key areas. I just need a few key sort of targets. To aim for.
Yeah.
If I'm going in that sort of direction,
yeah,
then that'll make me happy, and that will be where I want to go in life. But I tell you what, the next 12 months, next 6 months, next 3 months, I'm making sure they're as detailed as I can, because I want to make sure that I'm getting the most out of the time I'm here right now, because we're not promised tomorrow.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is, if you want to make God laugh, just tell her your plans.
Yeah, cool. I like that.
So, and so often in life, things don't work out exactly the way we want them to, But, depending on what your religious or beliefs are, there might be a grander plan for you, and you just aren't thinking big enough. And we've got to end this thing so you can start working on the real thing.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. Open-mindedness is very powerful to have.
Yeah, I have a core belief that life happens for me, not to me. And even if it doesn't work exactly the way I think it should look, well, maybe that's exactly the way it needs to look.
Yeah, so I agree.
We're at the point in the episode here that I want to give the audience a chance to hear what you're up to, having get a hold of you. I know you got a new film coming out, so tell us a little bit about that and how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, so I have the Ultimate Triathlon documentary. It's out now. You can download it on Vimeo. It's vimeo.com. And it's just called the Ultimate Triathlon documentary. You type that in, it'll pop up. Or you can go to my website, luketyburski.com or theultimatetriathlon.co, and you can grab a copy there and you can download it and watch it and leave a comment on the comment section of Vimeo. It really helps us out. And yeah, it's about my journey from Morocco to Monaco, covering the 2,000 kilometers in 12 days that I did last year. And even if you're not interested in sports or triathlon or any sort of physical exertion, the film's so much less about that, but more about the journey of someone who set this massive target that never had, or this goal that had never been done before. No one had done anything like this. No one had done a sort of a course of this sort of stature or this sort of length on a swimming, cycle and run. And all the logistics that went around it was just so difficult to try and figure out. And it's about this journey of this guy who set this massive target, got this tribe around him, this community around him, like 4 other people to help me achieve this goal. And the ups and the downs, the emotional roller coaster that the film is. And there's so many life lessons of throughout this. And there's tension between the crew and I, and there's a nice sort of collection of relationships between myself and the challenge and the crew and I, and just so many different things that we can all take out of this when you're trying to achieve a goal and achieve a dream, and what's needed to actually, achieve that, because it's not always pretty. And I think that's what the Ultimate Triathlon documentary shows. It's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of dedication, there's a lot of sacrifice. And you've got to try and enjoy the journey at the same time when you're trying to pull yourself through these difficult times. And yeah, I'm very proud of what was made and what the film is. And so I encourage everyone to have a look. And if you want to get in touch with me personally, you can find my contact details on my website, and also on social media at Luke Tyburski on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and I do all my own social media, so you'll get me firsthand if you've got a question to ask me. But come say hi and watch the film and write a comment, and I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Oh, that's awesome. And you came in first place.
I did. I came in first, but then also at the same time I came last.
Well,
but you know what? I'm just glad that I finished.
Oh, I know. It's I got into triathlons a few years ago, and I made it up to the Olympic. My goal was to get to a half IM. I have no desire to do a full IM at this point, but it's interesting the amount of preparation and to transition from the swim to the bike to the run. I tell a story that one of the last races I did, I had applied the number on my bike around the frame, and I had actually caught the brake cable when I attached the number. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. And what it did, it engaged the back brake. And I did the entire race with the brake on. And I use it as a metaphor all the time. You can you're sitting there, you're pumping harder. And it's like, why am I not going faster? It's not about the effort. It's about the obstacles in the way. So hats off to you for what you're doing. And I actually have a personal question I want to ask you, since I got you here on the phone or on Skype here, is I'm getting ready to do a 4-day event with a Navy SEAL training facility on the West Coast, which is designed to kind of break you down. If you were to give me one bit of advice on how to prepare myself mentally for 4 days and nights of what's going to be a very difficult process, what advice would you give me?
I'll give you 2 bits. Know why you're doing it. We've spoken about this earlier.
Yeah.
Know why, and be really clear with that, because when you're face down in water and you can barely breathe and it's freezing cold and a Navy SEAL yelling over the top of you, you really got to know why you're doing that. And the second reason is do some visualization on things that mean a lot to you. So family, friends, your health, what you're doing will help you with your business, with your everyday life. So start thinking and visualizing when you achieve the 4 days, when you finish the 4 days, and how much growth you're going to have from being in that discomfort for those 4 days, what that's going to mean to you and the people around you. So if you start visualizing the effects that that'll have after, and you start thinking about it as well, when you've got some guy yelling in your face, or when you're sleep deprived and you're just a bit delirious, all it will take was some sort of thought that you could think about, wow, but this is going to really help me to find a solution to that problem I've been looking for in trying to expand my business for the last 3 years, because it could be I'm doing everything that I possibly can to give me the best possible chance to succeed in overcoming that obstacle. So have those positive reinforcements through visualization and thought of how this is going to help you and the people around you. I would say try that.
Oh, that's awesome. It's funny that you say the why. I'm really, really clear on that. This is one of my top 3 goals for the year. And the reason is that the guy that runs this is a friend of mine. And he said, Thor, you're capable of 20 times more than what you think you are. When you think your body's done, you have 40% left in the tank. And mentally, I don't really understand that yet, obviously, because I haven't gone through it. But I want to see what I'm capable of. And I want to push the boundaries to expand it.
Yeah. So the Ultimate Triathlon documentary, and I used to think that what your friend said is when you think you're done, you still got 40% left. I proved that statement totally wrong. Totally wrong. And during the Ultimate Triathlon, I pushed myself that hard physically that on 3 occasions, my body stopped. I passed out. I collapsed. I went into an unconscious state a couple of times. But right before that happened, do you know what I was doing?
No.
I was talking to myself. Come on, Luke. Just keep going. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. You can do this. Keep pushing hard. You're doing a great job. I was giving myself positive self-talk right up until the minute that I collapsed and I was on the side of a French country lane after running 51 miles on a certain day. So my mind is so strong that it overrides my physical body. And that's very dangerous, but also it's very powerful to know that if I get into a certain physical situation that I have to overcome, or just even like a mental situation, that I know that my mind is so strong that I can push my body to the limits and beyond, and that I can achieve what I want if I just keep doing all the mental preparation. So I would encourage you to watch the film, Thor, before you go out and do this. And it might inspire you. It might give you just that little bit more ounce of energy to help you move forward with the 4 days.
Consider it done. I look forward to it. I'll download it this weekend. Thank you very much. And I would love for you to have you join us at Peak Performance Nation, the private group. I know so many of the members would get a lot of great insights from you. So I'll send you an invitation to that group as well.
And I will pleasantly accept. Thank you very much for having me on the show. It's been my pleasure.
Oh, absolutely. No, and I know that you have something coming up in 2017 that you can't talk about that's going to make this latest adventure look like a little walk in the park. Is there anything you want to say about that, or do you want to just leave that as a trailer to pick up? And I'd love to have you back on the show to talk about that when you can talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. My next big challenge is hopefully being announced at the end of this month. So if you follow me on social media, you check out my websites or anything like that online, you'll see what the challenge is. It's the Ultimate Triathlon. I feel, just as going on from what we're speaking about, didn't quite challenge me mentally in the way that I expected. And when you and your listeners watch the film, it'll make sense. But don't get me wrong, it challenged me mentally a lot, but it didn't get anywhere near my sort of breaking points or my limits or my perceived limits or even my potential. So I wanted to try and challenge myself mentally even more difficult. And I'll reveal it's a running challenge, and it challenges me mentally more than anyone could ever imagine until they figure out what it is. And that's all I'm going to tell you on that. And I'm also raising money for a mental health charity in the UK because I'm quite open about my battle with depression. And so I'm going to raise some money for a mental health charity as well. And that's all I'm going to say right now.
All right. Terrific. Well, we look forward to having you back on the show telling us the lessons that you learned from that challenge. So thank you.
Thank you very much, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. And have fun and, live life and enjoy.
Thank you very much. Are you truly living your potential? Are you getting the results that you need, want, and desire? There was a time in my life where I was not, and I needed answers. For the last 16 years, I've been obsessed with the question of why some people achieve massive results and others do not. And I found out that it comes down to one thing: execution. And the ability to take your ideas and plans and dreams and turn them into reality. That led me to the question, what are peak performers doing that others are not doing? How do they think? How do they act? What is behind the science of execution? I have now uncovered the secrets to the science of execution, and I want to share them with you. I have an intensive 3-day event called the Business Execution Summit. If you are truly committed to taking your game to the next level and mastering the science of execution, the most important skill that you will ever acquire, simply take your phone and text the word BE Summit, one word, to 41411, and I'll send you out some additional information on our upcoming event. Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com. And I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners. And if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin. Click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter at Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.